Okay, thank you for attending this webinar, which will be a quick take on setting up advanced rules with Replicator. My name is Mike Thurlow. I'm one of the support representatives for the Replicator product, so I'll be doing the demonstration today. So what I'll do is I will switch over to my SharePoint file, and what we'll do is we'll go through the what we're going to attempt and how to set it up. So what I've got here is in my London office, so I've got London and New York, so two geographically different locations connected by Replicator, and I've created a list, and this list has got 3 columns in it: release, classification, and caveat. These will be what the rules act on, so that's what we're going to be configuring our rules based on, because what we want is we want to be able to control the flow of information and with multiple rules depending on whether or not the item will meet those requirements. Okay, so I've already gone through the basic configuration of Replicator, which is covered in other videos, and I will now go to my map family and go to the rules tab. Okay, as you can see at the moment I have no rules created, so what we'll do is we'll create the first rule. First rule we're going to create is the release one. This will work on the release column, which is part of the library that the list that I've created. And the action we want it to do is to skip and delete item on target. What this means is that if the item comes in from the other side and it shouldn't have been it's not for release to the other environment, it will then send out an automatic delete. You can change this behavior. You can actually get it to skip the event. So it just won't replicate it, but it will leave the item on the other side. But for this demonstration, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the skip and delete. Okay, and is not equal to yes. Okay, so that's the first rule we've configured, and that's working on the release column. So now I'll go ahead and create the second rule. So in this one, if the item contains the phrase internal, it won't replicate the item. And lastly, the last column I've got is caveat. So you may have some documentation that meets all of the requirements, but may have a requirement that it doesn't go out. So like London eyes only, or for any other reason. So that's the one on. So if the item is not blank, then we don't want the item to be replicated. Okay, and finish. So those are our 3 rules that we've got in place. What we'll do is just go and check the monitor queue, just make sure that those have replicated across and they've completed. Yep, so that's the last one just coming through now. So these packages you can see going through now are just the rules that we've created, which is on the map family. And the rules will only, at the moment, are only stored on one side. So they're only going to be stored on the London side. They're not going to be on the New York side. But if anything does come in from New York to London, the rules will still apply. And that's now complete. So what I'll do is I'll now clear those packages out of the queue. Okay. Get rid of that screen. Okay, and what I'll do is I will now go and create some test data to show these rules in action. Okay, so I've created some test data here, and this will then cause the rules to trigger. So what we'll do is I'll go back into the queue and have a look and see the rules now triggering as items do and don't meet the rules. Okay, so they've all now completed. So what we'll do is go over to the New York side and see which items made it through. So the items that have made it through are the ones that have actually met the criteria to allow them to go through. So as you can see, the internal documents never made it through, and the one with London only didn't make it through to New York. And you'll also notice that the one I set to being no also has not made it through because it didn't meet the requirements of the rules. So what I'm going to do now is on this side, I'm going to create another item. And this one is going to be no. So this one is coming from New York back to the London office. So what we'll see on this screen is you'll see the inbound package as per normal. So the first item coming in. There's the inbound package. Give that a couple of seconds to complete. Okay, so that's now completing as normal, as you can see. So the last one is complete. And then what you'll notice in a couple of seconds is that there will be another outbound package. This means that the rules have been triggered. And you'll see there's another package on the bottom which is now going outbound to the New York server. So we'll just let that one complete. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll refresh the list on the London side. And you see that item number 6 is now there. If I now go to the New York side and refresh the screen, you'll see that the item at the bottom has also been cleared out because it hasn't met the rules which are set on the London side. One thing you'll have noticed is that we have some blanks. We've let an item go through which is yes, which has got a blank and a blank there. What we can do is that because if you don't have mandatory fields set, so the item is already mandatory selected for the user, you know the users sometimes will not actually fill these boxes in. So this could lead to the leak of information to another site that you don't wish it to happen to. So what we can do is we can create another rule, and this will catch those types of incidences. So pretty much like the caveat rule, what we'll do is we'll have classification blank will be the title. And we'll set that to be the second rule because we want that as high up the list as possible. And then click Next. So it's still acting on the classification. And if it is blank, then we don't want it to send the item. And finish. So as you see, what we've done is we've put it as being the second rule because we want it to action before the other two below it, because rules will always work down the list. So as long as it meets the criteria of all of the rules going down, then it will then action whichever one comes first that it fails on. So we'll let that just complete out. Okay, that's now complete. Now what I'll do is I'll go into the New York, on the London side. And save that. Okay, so there's the outbound package. As you can see, it's got no connection in it because it has a meta rule requirement, and it's now going to send out the accompanying package, which will go and remove it from there. And you'll see that the rule that's been applied this time, its classification is blank, so therefore that item will not be replicated. Just let that complete out. Refresh the list on this side, and as you see, that item never made it to the other side. So therefore, that gives you the ability to be able to scoop up things that think they should be going out, but they haven't completed the metadata columns that you have set on the library, to try and capture and stop the flow of information that shouldn't be going out of the system to another location. That concludes this demonstration on setting up advanced rules, and thank you for watching.